Welcome back to ciLiving. All week we will be sharing the stories of different couples right here in Central Illinois. The Filers have been married for 33 years and they like to spend their time quilting. Together they have created more than 600 quilts for different charities. ciLiving's Joe Barlow learned how their hobby became a way to give back.
We've given to St. Jude's and Operation Care Package, Project Linus, the Galesburg Rescue Mission, the Hopes and Dreams Challenge for ALS, Alzheimer's Art Quilt Initiative. We've sent overseas, Kosovo, Philippines, Mexico, Honduras,
Haiti,
Venezuela, Japan. We hear of something and we have to make a quilt.
If you pop in to visit the Filers, chances are they'll be working on a quilt.
Hooked is a, yes, hooked. And when he stuck his hand into the quilting about 3 years ago, he became hooked, as we all do.
We actually saw this machine at a quilt show, National Quilt Show, and of course they're all the manufacturers are set up to hands-on demonstrations, and that's enough to get you hooked on it. It just seemed like a natural
He went
thing.
with me to a quilt show, the Paducah Quilt Show. We were on a bus with 50 ladies, including the driver, who was a lady. He was the only man. And we watched some chick flicks and had fun. And at the show, he bought an expensive machine and he won the prize for spending the most money on the bus on the way home.
The joke was that I was going along to keep her from spending money.
Mm-hmm. I didn't buy anything. But I couldn't after he spent all our money, right?
Right.
Now Joe uses his big machine in the basement while Bunny sews upstairs.
I make the tops and find a backing for it. I bring it downstairs to Joe.
Sometimes
And
she
he
asks me
quilts
for
it.
opinions on
I do.
colors, and
He's very good. I've had no art training, no quilt training as far as that goes. I will get to a point, often with the borders or the binding, and I will bring it down, bring my choices down. It's called auditioning. I will audition for him and he will give me a good idea of what to do. And so I finish the top and get the back set up, bring it to him. He quilts, he gives it back to me, I trim and put the binding on. Well, Joe has invited me. Still, I think he would like for me to come downstairs and have my work shop down here, but I don't like his music. Wagner and other loud marches. And I'm a Mozart.
well, I have Mozart too, and I have rock and roll, and
I like rock and roll. But he works to music, which is interesting. I mean, he gets a rhythm going, and we just like our togetherness, and we like our personal time too. You know, we're working together, but more parallel.
At first, the quilts were just made for family members, but soon they learned that their hobby could be used to help complete strangers.
I heard about Project Linus, and that was a natural, because I'm a nurse. The first half of my career I was a trauma nurse and saw kids who were traumatized, ill, or injured, and the second half of my career I followed up on anesthesia patients after surgery, and I would see kids with their Project Linus quilts. And it's very moving when you know that that child is being helped by that little quilt. It's almost magical what a quilt will do for anybody, young or old. So that's why you can't stop. Right?
Right.
I think for a lot of people, what the quilts that I make are one of a kind, you would say. They're kind of, for kids, they're pretty bright, and some of them are pretty out there, and they're obviously one of a kind. And I think somebody made this for me, maybe, is what they get out of it. I don't know, I've just seen the reaction. And heard some stories. We've had feedback on some of our quilts that just bring tears to my eyes. And some people search us out because with the kid quilts, we put our first names, we put a little message on the back and put our first names. We don't put any contact information because it's not about us. And people have sought us out in several cases. That tells you how important it is.
We've heard stories, that a lot of the soldiers really weren't appreciated for their service and neglected, or what you want to call it, when they've
particularly
returned.
Vietnam vets.
And they're trying very hard not to let that happen again.
I used to say, well, it's not as much as therapy. And then I would say, well, it's no more than therapy. And now I say, well, it's not much more than therapy. So, does that sound like an addiction? I think so.
If you would like to help make quilts or donate to ciLiving's.tv.